Box art, box art, box art. We all do it. I've done it. I do it. We see the box art and we go, that's clearly how this should be painted. Well, I'm here to tell you, no. For too long have I been painting my Cadians in the style of the box art, what we are force-fed by GW. I'm not doing it anymore. I saw an army that was amazingly painted up in a friendly local gaming store, which got me thinking, why am I still painting the same as what's on the box? Be different. Let's have a look around, and I saw this camouflage pattern. So I'm going to be using this as my inspiration to get a new paint scheme. Let's see how that turns out. So I'm going to be using 3 paints. This is going to be my base paint, Steel Legion Drab. And then I'm going to have 2 others, although you don't have to use the middle paint, which is Baneblade Brown, and then Xandri Dust is going to be my top highlight. But as I said, we can just get rid of that one, because we don't totally need it, so you don't have to rush out and buy it if you don't own it. If you do, happy days, but it's not necessary. And then we'll be finishing it all off with some Agrax Earthshade. Now, just bear in mind, this is still the original recipe stuff that I have, because I bought lots of it before they changed the rest. So let's have a look at how I apply these paints and how I'm getting them on. I'm going to be using different techniques, different brushes to show you that you don't have to get the smallest ones. You can use the biggest brush to not exactly the smallest brush, because you won't want that for when we get into the dry brushing stage, and a really small brush is going to take a really long time. And to prove this, I'm going to be using my size 10 brush, and just like you would with any sort of field artillery, area, denial and dispersion, I'm just going to slop it on and get this on as quick as possible, nice and thinned down. So we may need to hit it with a second coat, but with all the layers we're putting on top, really we just want this in the recesses. So if it's looking a bit streaky and you only want to do 1 coat, that is absolutely fine. Now, because I'm such a master of YouTube, when I hit stop recording, I actually just started recording. So here it is, a reenactment of me using, again, a different style of brush, just to dry brush on that Baneblade Brown. But remember, as I said earlier, we don't really need this step, so why show it to you? That's right, another layer, which is going to be Xandri Dust, and another brush, just to show that you don't have to keep using the same brushes over and over again, and you can use a multitude of different brushes. Now, this one is designed for dry brushing. It's one of the army painted dry brushes. I think it's the medium size one, as my large one is currently elsewhere. So that's off working on another project at someone else's house. So we get another layer down, finish this up, and then we will be adding our second to last for getting the base of what we want our model to look like. And that will be to absolutely smash this Agrax Earth all over it like our lives depend on it. You're going to want a large brush for this, because again, using a smaller brush, it's just going to take that bit longer. And I like to work with these washes while they're still wet, before they create those weird tide marks where you can see it's partly dried and then you've gone and played with it. And everybody, I'm sure you know that feeling, which is, why did I do that? So large amounts, keep it nice and liquid, and then as soon as you're happy with it, leave it alone. So now that we've left our model alone and it has dried, taking it out of the oven. And no, please don't put your models in ovens. And here's someone who agrees with me on that.
He's right. Y'all shouldn't put models in the oven.
And we're just going to dry brush some Xandri Dust over it again. As we've doled it down, this then becomes a top highlight. This is a serious video for serious modelling. That's so stupid. Done. That's enough internet today.
Quite agree. Silly. Right, get on with it.
So next we're going to be picking out all the bits that I perceive to be as metal, and for that I'm going to be using Vallejo's German Grey, and then I'm going to be highlighting that with Vallejo's London Grey. Apparently London's not quite as drab as German. Fight it out in the comments below. Not my opinion, it's the paint. Blame the paints. So yeah, so anything that I perceive to be a metal bit or a greebly that I don't understand, I can go, what is it? Well, I'm just going to go, well, now it's metal, and I'm going to paint that in my grey. So just remember that as well. If you look at something kind of model and go, well, what is that? Well, now it's metal, or now it's whatever you've decided to paint it. It doesn't really matter, as long as you get paint and detail onto these parts. So now I'm going to be painting all the Imperial emblems in white, and I'm also going to be picking out any skin tones that are on show on any of the gun crew. My hope for that is that I'm going to use a speed paint to do the skin textures and tones, because I am dreadful at painting skin. And pretty much hoping that that's going to do the heavy lifting for me, so I don't have to concentrate so much on going, oh, the skin looks terrible, but the camouflage looks great. And you know, have all those mixed emotions that you go through, especially when you're hitting that point of just trust the process. And that is what I'm going to be doing with adding the white to the skin textures, and obviously hitting all the Imperial emblems with white. It's just what I've always done, so that's what I'm going to continue to do here. Now the next thing I'm going to be doing is using this Tamiya panel line accent colour. It is effectively just adding a black wash, but it's a little bit more directed, and it's enamel paint based, so it's not the same as normal oil. It reacts differently and sort of more staining onto the paints that we've already done. Now I just quite like the outcome that I get from this, so you don't have to use this panel line yourself. You can just use normal oil if you have that at the ready, or using your own favorite black wash. This is just a preferred paint technique, or I suppose you could say, or a preferred method of doing it. It's something that I bought, and then I realized, oh, quite like how this goes down and how it stains and adds a bit of aging and weathering, along with getting those black accents in on the recesses. So what I'm going to be doing here now is just using Ridox hide as a base layer for any leather items they have. So that's belts, straps, gloves if they got them, and anything I perceive to be a leather item. I'm going to hit this with a base coat of Ridox hide, and then I'm going to go in once it's dried with a top highlight of Dryad bark, because I don't want to draw too much attention to this, and also I want to use Dryad bark on top just to pull away slightly from the fact that we're going to be using Ridox hide again in our next step, because we are just about ready to start hitting it with camouflage and making these guys that little bit, putting the chocolate in the pudding, is that a saying? I'm sure someone said it. Now it's time to do the camouflage, and we're going to go completely against the grain and really make them pop and stand out on those battlefields, or off the battlefields, or on your shelf, wherever they may be. Their service. I don't even know where I'm going with this. Yeah, so we're going to be putting some squiggly lines, we'll put some blobs, some triangle-esque sort of shapes in there to try and break up, because the whole idea of camo is to break up the pattern of a human. The human is very obvious to the eye. You are naturally drawn to the shape of people. So camouflage is to just sort of disrupt that a bit, so like the old British stuff, the DPM, disruptive pattern of material. We're just sort of trying to confuse the eye a bit on that shape, and that's what we're doing. And I'm just going to be sticking to the fatigues. I'm not going to be putting it on their flak armor, because that's just a choice that I have made. You can go the opposite way and do it just on the flak armor and leave their fatigues in this khaki color. Totally up to you, but we're going to be using Ridox hide as a base for this, and also it's going to be our guiding line for the rest of it. So after that, we're going to be using Morfang Brown. That is a much sort of brighter and different saturation style of brown. It's more sort of like a muddy puddle, sort of like a clay-y muddy. Yeah, it stands out against that Ridox hide and gives, again, a bit of variation to the pattern that we are adding. And we're just going to colour in between the lines. And after that, we're going to be coming in with Ushebiti bone. Why choose that word? And for that, we're just going to be putting some dots. Now, I'm trying to stick with sort of like 3 dots to each bit of brown patterning. I'm also throwing in some like random lines here and there. Again, just breaking up that pattern and adding that extra layer to it. Now, of course, we aren't actually trying to hide these guys in the bushes. You don't want to be losing your models on the battle board, because then you've got to pick it up, shake them around, see what falls off, and then they break on the floor. You don't want that to happen. But I just feel like it gives that extra sort of visual sort of like oomph to it. So we've kind of gone lines of like Desert Storm, American style, and German Fleckel pattern is what I like to think. So towards some of our final steps, it's just filling in any blank spots we haven't done, such as putting these washes on. So I've used Satchel Brown speed paint, and that's for the crate that you see me doing here. And then for the skin, I have done Peachy Flesh, which just peachy. And then it's cleaning up our model and making sure that we've got any little details painted in, any greeblies done in whatever colour you have chosen, just to really make them shine and to show that you've paid that bit of extra detail to those little parts, like maybe a little antenna or the handle of a pistol hanging out of a pouch. So if you want to help me continue making these videos, please subscribe if you've enjoyed, or subscribe, as I used to say. Please hit the like button. That lets YouTube know that you've enjoyed this. And if you leave a comment, it helps pick it up in the algorithm, and it says, hey, people are talking on here, and it really helps my channel. There is one other way that you can help, and I really do hope that you have a look at it. While that's going on, let me tell you about Merlin Miniatures. Now, if you follow my link below, it is an affiliate link, so I get a little kickback if you follow my link below. Why would you follow it? They have a massive range of paints, notably Dark Star and Two Fin coats, which they've got really good deals on at the moment. A massive range of miniatures, everything from the new stuff right back to the classics. So if you want to get yourself on some of those old out of production models like I usually do, which is how I found these guys, then go give them a look. They're really active on social media, and with every purchase I get a little kickback and you earn loyalty points to go towards your next purchase. And also, feeling a little skint this month? Don't want to play with your army anymore? Haven't played with an army for a long time? Why don't you get some money from them by selling to them? That's right, not only can you spend your money there, you can make some money there to go towards that army that you truly want. Check out Merlin Miniatures today and follow my link below.